Hello, everyone. So, as we know, the Trump administration of the United States is hell-bound, along with our Western government, is hell-bound to make sure that all the Epstein files, and nobody's been prosecuted just to say yet, for anything in the Epstein files is atrocious. It really, really is. There's a cover-up the highest degree. And especially Donald Trump and the Trump administration claims to be the most transparent administration ever. So it's, God itself, basically, what I'm trying to say. And you think they'd be pursuing every one of these criminals and hunting them down and putting them into prison for their heinous crimes, etc. Because again, Pan Bondi, Scam Bondi won't do anything. And the Department of Justice have said yesterday, even though they have other files, like definitely they do have other files, but they don't want to release them, and they're not going to release them. Basically, Pan Bondi's pretty much said no, no more files. And everybody knows it sinks to high heavens that there is a cover up. People have been protected. Like there's no doubt about it. You look at the Epstein files, half of them were rejected. Hundreds of pages were just totally blacked out, and many names of people that were in the files and stuff were blacked out. Not even the victims. These were people, high-ranking people that were basically protected by the United States administration. And remember, they used to say, "There's no Epstein files. It was on my desk." Pan Bondi said. And then they said, "Oh, there's no Epstein files. Then what are these? Like, what is the 3 million or so Epstein files?" And of course, there's probably more. This is probably only barely the 3 million or so. There's definitely hundreds and thousands, probably millions more files that we don't know about that would be considered probably dangerous to release because what's probably in them files, etc. Because you have to remember about Jeffrey Epstein particularly, and this is the thing a lot of people don't remember, that Jeffrey Epstein recorded all this, took photographs and stuff. He recorded all this. Like, basically, he used it as evidence. He was probably using it for blackmail, let's be fair, to blackmail people, etc. Because there's no way, he had secret cameras in his office. We know that for a fact now. And he took hundreds and hundreds of photographs on his island, etc. And he documented everything, basically. He documented everything. Like, it's literally all there, pretty much, what he's done. Because it definitely has secret cameras. We know about it because we can see it in his office. God knows what that shows. But what I'm trying to say is, it's all there. Like, the FBI have all this. Like, this man wasn't just, he recorded literally everything. Like, quite literally everything. So it should be very easy to determine who was at fault and etc. And especially because there's many people making up excuses. That Donald Trump, Treasury Secretary, the Secretary of Commerce, said in 2005 that he was never on Jeffrey Epstein's island, that he never went to it, he never went near it, and then now we found out that he told lies, that he brought him and his wife and his children to Jeffrey Epstein's island, even though Jeffrey Epstein was a sex offender at the time. Like, it's absolutely insane, and Donald Trump still has him around. Like, you think he would probably be firing him, because of that. Because let's be fair, he knew what he was up to. But this is the thing. There is stuff in that files that are very dangerous to be released in society. What I mean by that is, it would link a lot of high-ranking people, like people that are high up. And we know, but the client list that was released, these people are trillions of euro. Like, we're talking about unlimited money, and these people have the means. Like, and I think the law in general, it doesn't apply to them because they're that rich and stuff. They can get out of anything, basically. And it's heinous when you see that in the country, because nobody should be above the law regardless of who you are. You're not above the law. If you commit a crime, you face the consequences. It's as simple as that. There's no matter how, if you're the poorest man on the street, the richest man in the world, you face the consequences. If you commit a crime, if you do any harm to a child particularly, there's no mercy. So that there's no mercy going to be shown to you. And I think it's an indictment on Donald Trump particularly, because it will ruin his administration. And in 100 years' time, in 200 years' time, hopefully all the facts will be out of who we by then, before we're all dead and gone. But what I'm trying to say is, hopefully in 200 years' time, if they don't do this, that this will go down as one of the worst things ever in United States history, in the world's history too, because not just United States history, there was people, politicians in Ireland, etc., on Jeffrey Epstein's island, associated with Jeffrey Epstein, probably did unspeakable things in Jeffrey Epstein's island. We will want to say in 200 years' time that these people were prosecuted, these people face justice for their actions. And Donald Trump, he would go down as the person that didn't do what he said he was going to do, because he promised it themselves. I wouldn't mind if they didn't promise it. At least then they could say, "Oh well, we didn't ever promise it," but they did. They promised to go after. They promised to release everything, And they have to fight tooth and nail basically to get them out. They literally had to fight tooth and nail to get them out. And you think they would have, because these people, and again, there's a picture of Scam Bondi in Congress, wouldn't even face the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, wouldn't even look at them. And that just shows you all you need to know. But the US administration, it's going to go down regardless of what they're doing in other terms and stuff. And as we see in the United States, that's not going well in terms of people buying a house, young Americans buying a house because they can't afford it. It's unaffordable basically for them to pay off a mortgage, etc. And it's absolutely insane. But it's not America force really, and Donald Trump has to be criticised. And I know some Irish people say Donald Trump, etc., is the greatest person. I suppose, like me with Sana, you're entitled to have your opinion. Of course, don't get me wrong, it's your opinion. But I would ask people to look at it because it is something. And I know people say, why did the Democrats not release it, etc. But this is the thing: there was a lot of Democrats in it too, so they would kind of be, regardless of who released them, it would probably hurt them. Regardless, it would hurt the Republicans because there's a lot of Republican donors on it, and it would hurt the Democrats because there's a lot of them on it too. But it was across the aisle, like quite literally across the aisle. But definitely, it's people that we're not talking about presidents. We're talking about people that are in the shadows, people that we don't know their names, the people that have a huge influence on our societies. Their names are in it, and obviously they are doing everything to protect their names from getting out, and from what they did, etc. Because that's what it's all about. But at the end of the day, I think we all have to remember, and I think this is the main thing. It's not about politics. It's about doing the right thing, and it's about standing up, and particularly these people that were children at the time, and heinous stuff was done against them. And we can't live in a society that goes unchallenged, that these people get offered, especially the rich and powerful, that and particularly politicians and stuff, they're supposed to serve the people. We can't let that go. We can't sit there and say no, we won't look into it. And the Trump administration, we're moving on, as the White House press secretary. We're moving on. Who is we? Who is we? Who is we? Because nobody's going to move on. Because we literally have in the files that heinous stuff was done, and the fact that the federal government or any government would say, "Yeah, we're going to move on from this. We're not going to tear everybody apart." Like they should be tearing every person that's in them files apart to make sure they can get every shred of evidence to get somebody to get convictions, etc. Or they should be arresting people and bringing them in for questioning. But it's a farce. It really, really is, because in any sane country, you would be doing that if you've seen literally evidence that these things happened. And the cover-ups and the people that were telling lies, the amount of people that were telling lies and caught in lies, saying they were never on Jeffrey Epstein's island, then we have proof now. It just goes, it's beyond compensation. Like, it's unbelievable. But as I said at the beginning there, Jeffrey Epstein literally documented everything. So it shouldn't be hard for them to find it. It's just that they don't want to show, because it'll go right the way to the top in society, and it causes such a rift in society across, not even just the United States, in the world, etc. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more. And what do you think? Has your opinion changed the Trump administration? Let me know. Thank you.